Let's go. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2.
1, 2, 1, 2.
All right. Here we go. In 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, we got some
Oh,
vibes.
yeah. Some vibes. Oh, yeah. Hey, guys. Welcome back to another episode of PepTalks podcast. This is actually episode 20. We made it 20 episodes. Very blessed to be here. Very excited to be here.
Congrats.
Man, I appreciate it. It's been a lot of, now that I look at it, I spoke it maybe like, a lot of people believe in. And I feel like I just kept saying it so much that I was like, I got to do it. I got to stick with what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Guys, joining me today, I have one of the Atlanta top DJs. He's been going not only in Atlanta, but going big, but also going from Miami, playing at yacht parties, to now playing over at Long Beach and LA. He's also started his residency at Atlanta's and iHeartRadio's Z105.7. Today, joining me, guys, welcome Mr. DJ VENOM. Let's go. We got Atlanta royalty in the house, guys. We're very excited to have you, man.
Thank you.
It's been something that we've been talking about for a couple of months now, almost. I don't know. I tapped on to you, but I was like, dang, he's also busy. You were going out of town soon.
We've both been pretty busy. It's been
a lot of movement. We were just talking about that, the traveling. And right now, like, what's been your year?
I think this has been my year for sure. And man, I've done so much this year that it doesn't even feel like a year has passed. Like it feels like it's only been a few months, but the year just passed so fast just because we're so busy. So
and I feel like
it's been a great year.
You probably, like you said, like you've kind of gotten out of your comfort zone even too this year. I feel like that's what it seems like.
This has been like a very, very out of my comfort zone year, just because I have to do more, like, not public speaking, but like just speaking and expressing myself outside of social media into like, like radio. Like just that alone, man, at the very beginning was frightening. It was very scary just because you don't want to say the wrong things. You don't want to get canceled from saying something dumb on radio.
And it's probably being who you are, but you're like, I get it. And it was cool hearing you. I heard you this past Saturday for a little bit that I could while I was driving. I was like, hey, it's 1 o'clock. Let's try to check it out.
Right.
Dude, it's fucking cool, man. Like, were you ever really like that? Like you were, had that objective of being on the radio, or it just came on?
It was something that I did dream of doing at some point. My early stages in DJing. So when the time actually arrived and came, and I was like, man, this is a no-brainer. I have to do it. I just didn't think it was going to be at this scale so soon. And big shout out to DJ Cano and DJ Luis Trevino for helping me achieve that and giving me that opportunity. It was something that I was not expecting for it to happen so soon this year. But thanks to them, I'm able to do that now.
Yeah, and shout out DJ Trevino, bro. Like his Spanglish is goated, man. I was like, dang, he can switch quick.
He's the GOAT, man. Like I just love how he expresses himself so freely and just so smooth on radio, man. He's a GOAT, man. He's a beast.
I definitely believe in the fact that like people, you gotta have a voice. You gotta have a good, cool voice that people can really listen to, and even if they don't even see a picture of you, they can still figure out like this guy's outgoing. He has the energy,
a personality.
That's doing it without a face. That's old school marketing right there too. I've actually, I don't know if it's still, you feel like it's very popular still.
So I mean, lately I've been getting messages on Instagram. Whenever they hear me live on the radio, and they send me messages or they tag me on posts, and I'm like, oh wow, like people are actually still listening. I think it sometimes like we get too caught up on, oh, it's only like live streaming on YouTube or Instagram, but there's still a crowd for radio. And I think that as long as we have tools like the internet, now you can merge the radio on your stereo, and now you could do it also like through iHeartRadio. You can listen to it anywhere around the world. So whatever station you like, you can listen to it now anywhere at any moment. So The accessibility is still there, so there's a reason for it, you know.
And I think it's very smart on their behalf to really look out into the community and see who's kind of like, playing the game of, hey, let's try to be better than what we were yesterday. And I feel like you've been every year. You just try to find something different to do, different enterprises to start, and I think that's what the radio probably, stuff that maybe might get discontinued if people really put in the brain of like getting a new age era of DJing. Somebody younger, somebody who can bring us a different perspective. I feel like that's when it's
Right.
gonna keep them going.
Well, the radio is not just listening to people talking or just live mixes or whatever. It's community.
Yeah.
Uh, you'd be surprised, but the radio is highly, highly involved in the community, in the Atlanta scene, and that's something that I highly support. So if I can, add my little, support in there and be able to get in touch with the community, I think the Latin community for me has always been a big part of my life, and it continues to help me be where I'm at. So I feel like I need to be a part of it. I need to make sure that anything that helps the Latin community, I want to be there. Like just the radio alone. They're highly involved in all the concerts that come, festivals,
Public speakers.
businesses, restaurants, and yeah, like public speaking too. So it's like a voice. Latinos here in Atlanta, I think we're always looking for a voice. So the radio is I feel like is at the front line of that.
Yeah, and I remember back in the day, dude, they used to have like businesses or like business owners or companies that did like even framing, like construction. Hey, I'm looking for two guys, da 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 da. They need to know this and this and this. My number is one
I
was
remember
678.
yes.
Bro, I think my dad got probably like two really good gigs for like years through the radio.
Wow.
He once went on the radio to talk about like the tacos, got some like help out of it. And yeah, it's always just I grew up listening to the radio, especially
Me
when you
too.
work in construction.
Yeah.
Like you're just riding in the radio, you're just listening to all the radio
Yeah.
shows. I remember El Pitazo and all of that. Viva was a really good
Yeah.
radio station, which is 105.7, right? That was what Viva was back in the day.
Yes.
Way back. That's when I got here in '04. We were listening to that.
Wow. Yeah. For me, DJing actually stemmed out of me listening to the radio. So like, I came here to the US to Atlanta in 2003 or 2002 actually. And ever since I arrived, I would always listen to the radio because I like how the DJs would mix. Back then there was a lot of
Technology.
Latino
Uh-huh.
options, but we would listen to Hot 107.9, B103, 95.5 The Beat. So I would listen to the DJs. They would come on like around 8 p.m. or 9 p.m. and I would stay there listening just because I was amazed at like how they would DJ. So um, yeah, that actually like pushed me later on in life and be like, I want to DJ. And it's crazy how the world is now. And now I hear myself DJing, on the radio, or people listening to me DJing on the radio, So
And it can go to a whole different spectrum of even you just putting on sets online and people would just want to listen to it. That just shows you how much interaction they truly want.
yeah,
And I feel like a lot of people see like there's a saturation of DJs, but they don't realize that they could be like 7 DJs in one night and everybody could still one way or another have their same style. I mean a different style.
right,
And I think that's just the special part about
right.
DJs.
What people are craving is talent. People are craving talent and creativity. That's really what it. There's I feel like there's an abundance of it, but everyone is different. Everyone is different, so it's okay to if you're barely becoming a DJ right now in 2024 or coming 2025, and you feel like, well, maybe I don't really have a big amount of listeners, like you'd be surprised, like maybe your cousins or your friends, they'll start sharing your mixes, and you'll get a little other following after that, and uh, it'll start growing eventually, just because people want to hear uh, you, or they want to hear something different, so don't ever get stuck in the position of like, well, is it too late for me to start, or there's so many DJs already, or I think there's always going to be a need for talent, no matter what.
Yeah, and I mean, you see that with even like celebrities picking up, like DJ Pauly D, Shaq Diesel. Like they still probably you would have never imagined them, but they'll find their way. Like everybody, as long as you're comfortable with yourself, first of all, I feel like that's what people really really feel. And then like you said, it comes to talent. Like how much work you're actually putting in. Are you
How
really studying
much?
your
Yeah.
music? Like you got 4 hours to just sit and play with the people. Like people want that. I've through Jimmy, he's put me on with Selection. I don't know if you know that. It's like a record label now for DJs, and they started just doing like small parties, like different styles. They do R&B, Afro beats. Then they'll go into more like a dembow, and they'll just take it wherever they want to go. And now they have like their own radio station on Apple
Wow.
with YouTube, and it's the same thing. Like they're just maybe they felt like it was already played out to be a DJ back then, maybe, or they were like, we can't go on the radio. How are we gonna distribute whatever we want to play? But it just comes to like where you started and where you keep going, no matter what time. And
Hmm.
like you said, I feel like people like you are always voicing that gives that people that chance to be like, no, I can still try to make it.
Yeah, and especially me, I'm just, I mean, I don't have any special, I don't like beginnings, like I grew up just like, most Latino immigrants here in this country. So, if I'm able to inspire somebody, like I'm more than happy to do that, and obviously, like give them a hand, and show them whatever they need, just to get that going. But yeah, I feel like anybody can really make this happen as long as you have a passion for it. You know,
And
uh,
music is
yeah,
very passionate stuff.
exactly. This isn't something that you can pretend to like or enjoy. This is something you really have to be very passionate about, because that's the only way you can keep going.
And you've been going for quite a while. Your tenure is very admirable. What's kept you up? Because I know sometimes motivation can be out the window. I know everybody can't always be motivated. So what's kept you here is like in this whole industry?
Passion, man. Really, it has been passion because, I mean, ever since I was a kid, I've always been around music. Coming here to this country, it exposed me to a huge, huge variety of music genres. Not just Latin, but like also reggae, dancehall, rap, house, just a little bit of everything, and so many genres and music. So it's like it's always been something that I love to be a part of. And I guess throughout the years, DJing has just kept growing, and the more I've done it, more opportunities came, and I just kept saying yes to every single one of them. So the opportunities keep on coming, and things honestly keep getting better. Like you said earlier in the introduction. And now I'm traveling to different states, different cities, and maybe I would have been able to do that if I had not been DJing. Maybe I would have been able to do it if I was dedicated to something else. Maybe not. But DJing for me at least gave me that opportunity to be able to explore different parts of the country, and allowed me to expose myself to uh, other communities and other people that maybe I had not been able to meet if I wasn't a DJ.
Yeah, I definitely believe. I love that you mentioned a lot that you come from like an immigrant background. So do I. I'm physically a dreamer. I don't know about yourself,
Wow,
but
thanks.
I do like that you mentioned all of that with the family and your passions, because I feel like we're one of the first generations, or we are one of our parents' first generations that really gets to find their passion. I feel like they lived the life of coming over
I
here.
think they made the sacrifice
They ran for
so
like
that we
they
could
walked so
live,
we could run.
right, exactly, so that we can live their dreams. And I think like that's also a big part of it for me, is that um I feel like I owed that to them. I owed them um the fact that I need to do very well in everything that I do, all my choices. Obviously, growing up, we probably made some mistakes and some errors, but we had to learn because, we have a family that we really, really deeply love, and we're still very connected to. I think that being a part of our background helps us to keep on striving. I feel like people who are not um, driven need motivation.
And I feel like
You know,
necessity
right,
brings motivation. That's what motivates people sometimes.
right.
And even if they don't see it as motivation, it just gets you up because
Yeah, I mean, you're driven because you have something to live for.
for
And that's something that we have. I honestly, like you said, like what motivates me, man. It's I don't think I need the motivation. I have things that depend on me. And my family. I love them and I'm always there for them. So I feel like I have to get up today. I have to make something happen in order for my family to be good, and not just that because I owe them a lot, just for giving me this new life here, and it's something that I'm forever gonna be grateful for.
yeah, and even then to them they're like, oh, you don't owe me anything. And even if it's not owing, I feel like it's just like, why wouldn't I use my full potential?
Hmm.
You guys did, and look what you've created.
Right.
You've made this pathway that maybe not even your parents would have been able to. I always tell them that I'm like, what if you're stronger than your parents?
Right.
You always think like you abandoned them or anything. What if they could have never pulled the trigger, knowing that this was like one of the, best ways for your family? And I feel like that's something that maybe is overlooked at times, especially by. I feel like a lot of the younger generation doesn't understand that. They don't understand that it's not like they're born here, but they don't see what the parents went through. They don't know that fear of like, am I gonna make it home? And like you said, like sometimes, like, even I've said it, like motivation isn't always there. Sometimes I don't feel motivated to do a
Hmm.
lot of things, but that's when you gotta look a little deeper and be like, okay, like besides me, what else can I do? Who
Right.
else could I help? And if it's not your family, why wouldn't it be?
Right.
And I think that's a really good key point because I know you're very like family oriented, and I actually know your father, and he's always been proud of you, and I think that's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Parents that believe in, my dad for a couple times when he first started me, saw me start this, he was kind of like, hey, like, like I do construction and I work for myself, so he's kind of like, you still got to focus on that. I feel like once he saw that I was actually trying to like really take it a little more serious, now he's turned the page and he's kind of like sending me even like other podcasts, like, hey, check out this guy, look at,
Right.
like, just take a little key points from here, look at this guy, I think he speaks a little like you can kind of like, you could
Hmm.
just kind of see how he flows a conversation.
That is the funniest thing because like same thing has happened with me, at least with my dad, right? Um, he's all about work. He's all about like he wants to see you like physically doing stuff.
Something, yeah.
Like you gotta be hired or you gotta be doing something, right? Like construction or whatever the case is. And when I've done every kind of job you can think of. I've worked construction. I've worked with taxes. I've sold cars. I've done so many things. I've even worked for restaurants in the past. Um, and once he saw that DJing is like the the one thing I'm actually focusing on now, and I'm full time. You could tell he got a little nervous. It was something that he was like, oh, okay, it's his passion, but he still has to
Go to work
go to
somewhere.
work or something. But once he saw that, this is it. Like I'm full time DJing, and this is the way I'm gonna like live and survive and pay bills. That's when he was like, oh, okay, well, I don't know about that, like, uh, but once he did start seeing like, okay, now I'm really doing everything on my own. I'm going back and forth to other cities, and I'm even helping out with like family expenses and um, going to Mexico, back and forth. A few vacations here and there.
Hey, bro, you gotta play hard work. Work hard, play
That's
hard.
when he starts to take things serious, and he's like, okay, have you done this? You should do this. Like he starts putting in his
His
thought into
opinions,
it as
yeah.
well. Because now he respects it and he wants you to grow into that. Because now it's like, all right, he's happy doing it, but he's also growing.
And you can't blame them. They come from a background where, hey, like, you got to play it safe because obviously we're not in the country we belong in. Obviously we're not born rich. We don't have something to fall back on.
Right.
But I really truly believe that if you came here, you got to risk it, man. Like, there's no playing it safe. Like, you got to just do something big
Yeah.
if you have the
Yeah.
opportunity. Because if not, I mean, we could have just, we would have done just working and, work to live. we could have done that back home, right? I feel like
Absolutely.
my dad sees it now, where he was like, even if I don't do this like for the rest of my life, he still sees that like, okay, like these guys are getting like a little bit more advanced. Like they kind of like, he's like, at your age, I wasn't thinking like this. I was
Right.
thinking. So again, necessity kind of like builds up.
Yeah. And I think now, I guess technology has reached our parents. So like now they're able to see like on their feed, like normal people getting bunch of views and then becoming something, in the world. So like now they're seeing the trend that it's like, okay, like normal people can also move up the ladder and, eventually be very successful. So I think like in that aspect, they also are seeing it through like their social media. It's funny because I think like just a few years back, I mean, at least my parents were not active on social media, but now that they're active and they see me posting stuff because they follow me on social media, they even see like my progress, and they're very like proud of it. And it's funny because on when we have family gatherings or parties or whatever, it's part of the topic. Like, oh yeah, my son did this, did that, and then my uncles or my aunts, they were like, yeah, my nephew, he's doing this, that, that. They even call me Venom, like at the family parties too.
That's one of the
Yeah.
topics I wanted to ask you. One of the questions I know you talked about it on the That's Law podcast. Shout out, my boy Lex and what's his Wes is the other
Wes.
one. Shout out to those guys. That was a really good one, by the way. I like that story. I don't know if you mind sharing that with us real
Yeah,
quick.
absolutely. Uh, I mean, pretty much like how I got my name.
Yeah,
So that's something that happened back in 2008, 2009, just to give you like some years context. I was in high school, freshman. Um, Back then there was, parties and house parties, and people would just, host and at their cribs and invite a bunch of people and a bunch of friends just from like the local schools. And at one of those house parties, I did see a friend of mine's that was DJing with a mixer that you would put two iPods on it. So
that's
you
crazy.
would press play on one iPod and then like use the transition crossfader, and then press play on the other one. And it was cool at that time.
That sounds even like advanced right now. Like
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody could really know how to work that.
And so I was really like mind blown by that, and I asked him, I was like, "Hey man, where'd you get that? That mixer?" He was like, "Oh man, I got it at Radio Shack, this and that." So like, I
That's
literally
crazy.
that same week I went and I bought one from Radio Shack,
That's a
and I would
crazy callback right there,
right,
Radio
and I
Shack.
would just mess around at my house and uh just be playing music from I would download the music from LimeWire. I don't know if that's okay for me to say.
I don't. I doubt LimeWire is gonna come after
Right.
us right now.
But then I would download it to my iPods, and from there like I would just mess around. And then one of my friends came over and he was like, "Hey man, like you should DJ for one of my birthday parties coming up. I'm gonna do it at my house, this and that." And I was like, "Oh well, I'm not DJing, bro. Like I'm not a DJ, but I'll do it for you, like I'll just play music or whatever." Um and before
The
the
party.
night of the party came, they were asking me like, "Hey man, like what's gonna be your DJ name?" And I was like, "I don't have one. I'm not really a DJ." So they were like, "Well, we're gonna call you Venom." I'm like, "Venom?" I thought that was like the ugliest name to give me, right? And they were like, "Nah, it's a dope name, man. Like you're gonna be DJ Spider's competition." I'm like, "Competition? What do you mean, man? Like that's my boy." So DJ Spider was the same DJ that I had asked about the iPod mixer at that
Ah,
at that
okay,
one
okay.
party. So me and him were really close friends, after we met. So uh, I had asked him. I had to ask him. I was like, "Hey, man, like they're trying to name me Venom, and they're saying like I'm gonna be your competition or whatever. But, I don't know what you think about the name." And he was like, "Nah, man, that sounds so dope, man. Like
And
you
he
should
was-
definitely keep it. Like that Venom sounds fire, bro. Like just go for it." And I was like, "All right, man. Well, I got his blessing. So then
Fuck yeah.
I went and told him, all right, man, y'all could
Put it down as
put it out there. So they posted, DJ Venom on the flyer, and upload it on MySpace or whatever.
Damn, hella callbacks on this one.
Right, and the night of the party was pretty dope. But what I remembered the most about that night was that at some point at the night, bro, like they started chanting Venom, Venom,
Because it was on the
like
flyer.
right, and it was like a Project X movie, man, because like people were parked all like on the side of the road, like in this neighborhood, bro. Like,
Jeez, like Project X, right?
yeah, bro. There was like at least 50 to 60 cars, in this neighborhood just parked outside.
I always wanted. I think earliest I've ever been to a party was like 2013. I've always wondered what it was back in the day, what those parties were like. I bet you they were a lot different than
Yeah,
today.
I mean, honestly, man, they were pretty crazy, and I don't see something like that ever happening again.
Nah, right?
Not in today's day, and everybody posting on social media too, and exposing everybody.
Ooh, because somebody over there with their side
Right,
piece and
exactly,
shit,
man,
having
yeah.
a good ass night.
Yeah,
They're
I
not
think
trying to
that
be
was the
taking
cool part about I guess growing up, without so much social media. Yeah, I feel like people enjoyed themselves a lot more.
That I feel like that on like when we go to concerts. I'm just kind of like, man, people record the whole thing,
Oh yeah,
and you're kind of like, dude, you didn't even pay attention to the whole concert because you're
Mhm.
focused on the phone. You're
Right.
watching it through your phone instead of
Yeah,
looking down.
and it's crazy because like they don't really post. I mean, obviously not the whole thing. They just might post like one or two stories
One or
or
two.
whatever, and that's it. Like, nah, man. Like, enjoy the night, enjoy the concert, the artist. Maybe the first and only time you'll ever see them.
Yeah, and like even like I think there's mostly in comedy shows that they're doing where you kind of they give you a bag and it locks
I
itself.
did hear about that.
And
Yeah.
I think that's pretty cool. I think Bruno Mars also like enforces that. A couple artists like Adele,
Right.
I think sometimes she does it, and I think that's big because it's true. Like also a lot of these artists spend a lot of money on their performance, on their production,
Yes.
so you can enjoy it. Not so like the people that didn't make it or didn't pay for it.
Mhm.
And I think that's one of the biggest things too. And
Right. And
and
then the
like
surprise
performance.
factor too. I feel like that's really dope. Like now they're uploading everything. From the first concert. So like now you know what to expect. And now it's like, oh man, like if they have a surprise artist, like now you're expecting a surprise artist. So
Right, that is true too. And you're like, why doesn't my city get it? Because Atlanta never gets any cool fucking surprises.
right. No, we don't.
And then even like I think special moments. I think somebody like posted a couple a while ago when Peso Pluma would like cry at a concert, and maybe he does get emotional at every concert, and they were like, all right, he's just played out now, and I'm like, cool, you just ruined it for everybody who hasn't gone to the concert. Maybe now he's gonna be like, wow, I can't even cry. I can't be emotional at the concert now, you know.
Right.
And I feel like that's like stuff like that, like you said, like it just those are meant for the moment, and you capture it, cool. But if you just keep sharing it, and you're only going to these concerts to make videos, people literally do that just to go record people singing or their reactions, and I'm just like, I get it, everybody has to do their own way, but I feel like we could all use a little bit of time to ourselves and really enjoy it.
Right.
That's so in technology, like you work a lot with it, you've seen it change throughout. What's kind of been like the hardest part about like learning all of that? Were you always like tech savvy?
No, I'm definitely not tech savvy. I feel like I'm always behind tech. When MySpace came out, I got MySpace like in 2011.
Oh, you were like,
I was
where's
late to the
everybody?
party, bro. And then by 2011, everybody
It's
had
on
my
Facebook.
Facebook, right?
Yeah.
So MySpace was already dying, and then Facebook was like the thing, and it was popping. So now I'm like, bro, I just made a MySpace. Now I gotta make a Facebook, and then
That was crazy. That MySpace for a while was the only thing.
right,
I think there was like other like smaller websites where now like you have like, Twitter, and then I mean, a lot of people don't really use Snapchat. And then for streaming, I mean, people use like the TikTok to really
right.
get there.
Yeah, I think Twitter when it was blowing up, it was really big, and I was actually very active on that. And that's a place where we would definitely promote the parties that we used to do back in the days. So Twitter definitely was a strong one, and then I think Snapchat. When Snapchat came out, I was using that a lot for the club parties.
Dude, I'm talking about like those club parties. Well, we've already gone over, big family man. Even when like your beginnings with your name and everything. Now, I do enjoy that you've been in this game for a really long time. What were like the other of those parties, like the Descontroles, like all of those back in the days, those
Oh man,
OG
those were
parties?
like, I think to this day, man, those have been some of the best parties that I've ever experienced and that I've ever done in my life. Like without hesitation, I can say that. Just because, again, the technology factor, it was there, but it wasn't too, uh, too strong. You know, you could still enjoy the night. You could still have a little bit more of like the privacy, and not worry that you're gonna, I don't know, be exposed, freaking being wasted or something, at a party. Um, and yeah, man, like it was definitely a time where uh, I felt like as a DJ, I was not afraid to express myself. Because growing up here, I think we kind of are familiar with a lot of different genres, so I could play everything, man, like hip hop, reggaeton, a little bit of rock, like Mana, or El
That is true.
Sonidito, like just blend everything in and just have fun with it. And everybody was just so open to that. Now I feel like I have to be a little bit more mindful of who I'm playing for at the party, and try to like I have to be a little bit more flexible to the crowd, versus before. I feel like I had all like just the whole
Control almost.
control of it, and then I could just express myself very, very freely. And I think that's definitely been a big factor, Now I feel like it's been like people want to listen to the hits a lot, like just the hits, the
And
hits.
sometimes they don't mind it if you do it twice in like in an hour
Right, yeah,
even.
yeah,
They're just like
yes.
it's that good, and you're like
Right.
it's cool. You
And
know?
yeah, I mean it's great, but as a DJ, you still want to be creative, You don't want to just rely on the hits. Like don't get me wrong, I like the hits, I enjoy them, but after a weekend of DJing, 4, 5, 6 times, and you're still playing those same songs, like it gets a little tiring, So uh being creative is pretty much our lifesaver.
Yeah, and you wanna, like you said, you wanna extend out like kind of your own opinions, your own way, your own perspectives on music. And I've honestly, me, I'm a big fan when people put something way different, and I don't care if the crowd is like, oh, woo. If it's fire and it's something you don't like because again you're not open minded. I love it when a DJ's like, fuck you guys. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do about it? You're not gonna come and tell me how to run my show. Oh my god, embarrassing. And I think that's where maybe like going to like a music festival you can expect it, going to like an EDC or a Tomorrowland, like those guys can. And now you see Hispanic, like Mexican music going into, they're making remixes for like EDC Mexico,
Yeah.
or they're over there with Marshmello, playing with the Oro, and they got Baila Sola, and then with Fuerza Regida and Marshmello, they're doing their songs. And I think that's like huge, where
Oh
like
yeah,
people
that's
can be open
amazing.
minded, but you gotta find those crowds.
No, it's amazing. It also depends a lot on the settings, Um, obviously, like you mentioned, Mexico. And they're fusing, the regional music, the Mexican regional music, to house and such things, or even like the Mexican regional guys are making reggaeton now,
Them bows.
them bows. I mean, that's beautiful. I think like that's we're definitely living in a gold era for music. I love the 2000s, and I love the music now as well. And I feel like the classics are always gonna be classics, but the fact that now you're listening to artists from different genres just bouncing back and forth with other things like Peso Pluma and El Alfa, or Fuerza Regida making a reggaeton song. Like it's a really, really dope thing to be a part of or living, in this time, because I feel like us, like how we grew up, it was only like this genre over here and then this genre over here.
And everybody's judging them. Right? Everybody's looking at them, and the people
Yeah,
that love perreo are horny motherfuckers, and then the people that like corridos are just old heads.
right.
Where now you get both.
You have to, yeah, you have to listen to everything. You're exposed to everything now, and I feel like that is such an amazing thing is in a beautiful place for DJs, because now we get to, people have to be open more,
That's awesome,
Yeah.
man. Well, from humble beginnings and house parties to now, you're very involved in what was Pum Pum Fest. Was it last year
Yeah.
or last year?
Yeah. Last year.
How's that been? Like that's I know you're planning on doing another one. I don't know if you guys are.
Yes.
And
Yes.
and
Coming soon. Coming soon. Stay
from that
tuned.
one, that's a sneak peek right there.
Yeah.
Who's gonna know what's gonna happen. But from that one, tell us how it went and like how you got involved with it, and not maybe what you would change, but what could we see for the next one.
Well, definitely big shout out to Looney, DJ Looney, for allowing me to be part of that experience, and just the whole team, Tank, Mingo, everybody that was a part of it, man, did an amazing job. I think for the first um, festival, reggaeton festival here in Atlanta, I mean, we had to, really elevate the standards. And from the feedback that we did gather, I mean, a lot of people gave us great feedback. And that's really the biggest factor, as to why we're gonna continue to do this. Um, and there was this year we didn't make it happen just because there was just so many things happening around the city, and we just did not find the right moment to be able to uh, produce it again this year. But it is coming. It is coming, and it's coming soon. And as far as my involvement goes, um, yeah, I was definitely very excited to be a part of it. Looney made me be able to be a part of a lot of different things, from marketing to the behind the scenes, the organization, and it exposed me to a whole new world.
It seemed like everybody was running all over the place
Oh
trying
my
to get this
gosh, I
going.
had blisters on my feet, bro.
No, and
Like,
not even before, not even the day of. You
yeah.
guys were doing so much promo,
Oh, the
marketing.
promo
You
was
guys were
insane.
all over.
Yeah, no, the promo was all over the city, and we're so thankful that we had so much support for this event, because uh, that's the biggest thing, man. We definitely wanted to have the city just come together, like put their differences aside, show the world that Atlanta has a Latin scene, a strong Latin scene, and that we can make big events happen here too, you have Baja Fest, I believe in Chicago. No, sorry,
Lollapalooza. Oh, Sueños.
Sueños
Yes.
in Chicago, and then you have Baja Fest.
You have
Um,
those the one in Austin, Texas. It's gonna Besame Mucho.
Besame Mucho.
Huge.
You have so many festivals in LA and in Miami, and Atlanta. I mean, we crave that here, but nobody has been able to make it happen, and the fact that it was produced and organized by us, the locals, I just feel like that just made it extra special,
I think that was the craziest thing that we saw a lot of familiar faces on those posters on that committee, and it definitely did feel like it was a big like hometown welcome for everybody that
Right.
was putting it on. I don't think they could have been more prouder that to do it in the city. It was I feel like it came out a really good production. And even if there was anything that could have gone better, this is insane. Like you're saying, it's like one of the first Latino stuff to happen here in Atlanta, a
Mm,
place that is very diverse, very
yeah.
cultural.
Yeah, I mean, we've had other Latin festivals, but reggaeton wise, like just urban reggaeton, this is like the first one.
Yeah, and now
Um,
and then even festivals, but I mean at that size, with you guys were doing it at an amphitheater. Was it the Alfredo or the Lakewood?
Lakewood
You
Amphitheater.
see, at Lakewood, I've been to Lakewood for Vans Warped Tour. Like that's still like a
Mm-hmm.
big name. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Post Malone's played there. Like it's big names.
Right.
So rather than taking it from maybe like not putting them down or anything, but from like a kermes to like a parking lot like festival. Now we're going into like an arena like where people Peso Plumas play there. That's huge for you guys to just be there, take that leap and be like, you know what, we want it, we'll make it. And sometimes that's what it
Yeah.
takes. Somebody wants it bad enough that they'll bring it into existence.
And yeah, I mean, we definitely had a lot of obstacles, to make it happen. Um, and I mean, some of our hair was even falling off during the entire process, and it was definitely a shock factor to realize how much, you have to put into to make all of the puzzle pieces come together. Even from just thinking about the weather.
Right.
That
Like, how's
was
it gonna
the
be?
weather and
Because you guys are putting out these
everything.
dates, what, like a month, 2 months before?
Uh,
Probably even way longer
yeah,
before.
no, yeah, no. I think we started the promo uh like around May or June, or no, I think actually like a lot sooner than that. But yeah, the promo was definitely done a few months in advance. Just because we wanted this to be a very, very um, great and successful festival.
Planning is everything. Because
Yes.
you plan to be perfect. You'll
Yeah.
probably get there. And like, again, that was insane. Like, I know you guys mentioned it on the other podcast where you spoke about it a little bit, where you have to think about the rider list too. You have to think about taking
Writer.
care of the guests, the
Yeah.
people, and also making sure you don't have a heat stroke throughout the day.
Right.
I bet it was just the whole thing. But I mean,
Yeah.
you guys seem to really have enjoyed it. I don't think everybody looked like they were just on it.
Yeah. I think I think once we started to see the bigger names come on stage and just everyone having an amazing time, that's when we were able to kind of like take it in a little bit. And being backstage, I mean, it just felt crazy, bro.
You got to meet an alpha.
I didn't get to meet any of the artists, but like I was like right next to
Yeah,
them.
you were just probably so busy the whole
Yeah,
day.
I was next to them. I kept seeing them, like come inside
The green
their
rooms and everything.
yeah, and it was crazy. I was so close to Chencho and Zion and Lennox. I even saw El Alfa at one of the hotels where he was staying at,
Yeah, and you
and
probably will see them probably more in the future.
yeah, but I mean, it was just an amazing experience, and I wouldn't change it for the world. I would do it again. And obviously we're gonna make it happen again. So
That's awesome, man. I hope you guys are very excited as
yeah,
much as I am. I wasn't able to go to that one. I forgot. It was like something it crossed because I had tickets and I had to let them go. But I'm really excited to see you on the other one, man. And for a lot of things that you're
yeah,
gonna do.
yeah. And we've been, like I said, man, we've been getting a lot of messages about when the next one is gonna be. So I'm already excited, man. And I know that like for this next one, I think we're gonna have an even greater turnout, and the lineup that we're gonna have is gonna be insane. It's gonna definitely be historic.
And it's gonna be something that people are gonna want to just probably gonna sell out. Cause
Yeah,
I know everybody wanted to get their hands on some tickets the
yeah,
other time, and that's gonna be legendary, bro.
yeah.
Congrats, man. That's awesome. Have you ever thought about going that route into like festivals? You feel like you'd be up for it?
Absolutely.
I think that's awesome. That's
Absolutely,
insane.
man. Uh, I just brushed shoulders and I met Freddie Fresco for the first time. I mean, he's also pretty big when
Yeah,
it comes to festivals, and I was able to sit down with him, and he gave me some pointers, and just kind of we were vibing about a lot of the things that happen in the industry, and he gave me some knowledge too, man, and I think that I definitely look forward to being a part of other festivals, and bouncing around the country, and hopefully outside of the country too, man. I'm also looking for those opportunities.
what's that one spot you've always wanted to play at?
Oh man, honestly, I think it would be shoot, like as a venue, or
Festival, maybe even a venue opening for somebody.
honestly, look, man, I'm so like
Open.
hungry that I'm down for any festival, bro. Like anything that comes my way, bro. Like I'm gonna say yes to that. You know.
And right now, through all of that exploring you're gonna meet a lot of people. What attribute about yourself do you feel like has helped you, become very easy to get connected with when you need it to, and how has helped your like your networking?
I mean, first of all, bro, I'm just blessed. I'm extremely blessed, bro, because sometimes I don't even like everything happens so fast that sometimes I don't really like get to like ask myself like how did this happen, But I'm I'm always grateful. I'm always appreciative of every single opportunity that I get, you know. And I think, you know, from what people tell me, man, like, I'm a, you know, I'm very humble when it comes to all these opportunities because, you know, I feel like anybody, they could have chosen anyone else, you know, to do the job, but for them to, you know, make me or ask me to be a part of it, I mean, that to me just humbles me and it makes me feel very appreciative. And I think people like that. I think people see that. And, you know, I think the passion also, like, you know, radiates, you know, and they see me that I'm a very active person. And I'm always, you know, treating people good too. And, you know, just overall, man, I think, you know, people can see that, you know, I'm a genuine person that just wants to enjoy uh, DJing and, you know, having a great time with people. So I think that radiates, you know.
As somebody that's like, had the opportunity and the blessed to see you grow up, I've grown up, looking up to you. I'm
Thank you, man.
very, very, very much of a witness. When you walk around, you have like this very calm energy about yourself, and people respect it. You never really see people antagonizing you too much or pushing on you too hard. And I think that's something that like you speak, like you say you have to find your way. And I feel like you found your way. Like maybe I don't have to be the loud one. Maybe I can be, just very mindful of my words. What I say goes, and what I say is very, I think before I speak, and I could definitely attribute, say that you very very much resemble that, and I think that's
Yeah.
great. I love
Yeah,
that.
yeah, because I feel like, I mean, if people are gonna book me, if people are going to work with me, I want them to book me for what I have to bring to the table, for my talent, you know, not necessarily because I'm the hype person or I'm the hype guy, you know, in the industry. I want to be, you know, known and appreciated for my work, you know. So yeah, I mean, I just I just kind of like stick in my own lane and let the work speak for itself.
Yep. I said that a couple podcasts ago, where I love this one quote where it's stop screaming affirmations in the mirror, because the only thing that could basically back up what you're saying is just an undeniable stack of proof of shit that you've done.
Right.
Because at that point, like, there's nobody can tell you it's blue when you know it's red.
Mhm.
So it's doing the work, and I feel like that resembles you again a lot. Like, you've been in this for a long time. It's not easy to go through those times of, am I gonna make it out of this? Am I even gonna make a living out of this?
Right.
Am I gonna get laughed at? It's taking yourself out of something that is you.
Mhm.
That's the crazy part. You gotta kind of take your emotion out of it, and if you really trust it, whether it's good or bad, it's gonna happen. And I think that takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of trust. But I always tell people, I'm like, you're betting on a company to maybe fire you, maybe not. Why not bet on yourself? You're the
Mhm.
only person you should trust. I'm really one of the only people I trust, and I've even said this a lot too to a lot of people. Like, I've started to even just talk to myself, because at a certain point, who else can really help you if you really don't know, like, how far you can go,
Right.
and like who you can become.
You definitely have to have a strong mindset in anything that you do, you know, and I don't want to say just confidence, but like you said, trust. You know, trust that, you know, that you can do things and you can make it work, you know, by just putting the, you know, the raw work. You know, I think repetition, just consistency will get you to wherever you need to in life. You know, you don't necessarily have to blend in or become somebody you're not. You know, I think if that's the case, you're never gonna truly be happy because you're not living a reality. You're not living your truth, you know. So there's no need for you to change who you are as long as you consistently put in the work.
And if you change your environment, that matches you. I really said that at the beginning of the year. I'm gonna take every opportunity I get, and it's crazy that a lot of these opportunities that I took didn't really have anything to do with the job that I had already at the beginning of the year. It started with the photography, with the podcasting. I just kept saying yes and yes and yes, and those opportunities come natural. So I feel
Right.
like I was just fighting it for so long because of my doubts of maybe laziness, the procrastination. Is just it's the worst. But it's just
Those
wanting
are
to
the
get
real
it.
demons.
Those are what it is, and I think that's, I deal with it a lot, and I feel like a lot of people deal with it, even if it's not a podcast or becoming a DJ. Sometimes it's going to the gym or even wanting to change their job, but they feel this pressure that sometimes really isn't even there, and they can't even be themselves. And I think that's, like you said, it like being something that's not you is the hardest thing to do. Keeping up with a lie is the hardest thing.
Correct.
And I hope that through this and maybe through you sharing your story or other people getting out there more in technology, using it for good, maybe they'll find something about themselves that they can really explore and bring out to light. Damn, bro. I like I enjoy seeing people be good at something that took them a long time to do it, because there's a lot of respect to it. There's a lot of admiration, and at a certain point, that they've gone through hardships, and that it's not always been easy. So it's kind of a good example of, yeah, maybe it sucks right now, but there's always gonna be something good on the other side of that one, and then it's not gonna be good again, because I know you failed maybe more or even less or more than what you've succeeded, and that's usually what happens. Do you agree? I don't know.
Yeah, I think you also have to be very open to failure, and disappointment. Just from my background, I come from, a very poor background. So, I mean, everything that I've achieved and gathered, even failure, man, like, it's always a win for me, you know. Just being able to, uh, keep on doing everything that I'm doing is a win. Sometimes, yeah, there's rough times, there's rough areas, and disappointment. Sometimes I think for me the biggest thing is like I don't want to disappoint my family. I don't want them to see me as a failure. That's always been like something that I don't want to say like out of battle, but like it's been like a big fear, for me. So um, that gives me I guess a lot of motivation or a big push for me to like just be strong and keep going. But sometimes it's like, okay, you know what? Like life is life. Yes, you're gonna fail sometimes, and yes, you're gonna disappoint people. You're gonna disappoint your family. You're gonna disappoint your close friends or even yourself. But the whole point is to just not give up. Consistency again. You know, um, just keep going, and you know, like when you do fail, take it in and just keep on writing it. Write it out, tough it out.
Definitely. I feel like a lot of people, yeah, even through ideas that they want to bring out, it's just the consistency is also a big scary part of it, because you got to give up a lot. And
Yes.
you feel like you've made a lot of sacrifices through maybe doing something that you enjoyed.
Oh, so many, man. Like I feel like it's been a constant battle for me. I mean, just my entire life, and this year, I mean, I feel like this is the first year that I've really, really felt the fruits of my labor. Just with everything that I've done. I don't think I'm anywhere near where I want to be yet. I definitely don't feel like I'm a very, very successful person. Yes, like I've succeeded a lot throughout the years, but I just still feel like there's so much room for me to grow. And but I have learned that I still need to be grateful. I still need to remember, like, okay, it's everything is baby steps. Everything that I've done, like I still need to be grateful for, and like, if I'm ever feeling like I'm stuck or not moving or whatever it is, like I have to like just slow down a little bit and look at everything that I have accomplished, and still remind myself that what, like I'm still doing good. I'm still moving. I'm still progressing. Not as fast as I wanted it to be, but it's still a progress. You can't slow down. You can't lose that motion. And I think those are the biggest battles, that I've encountered, which is the mind battles, fighting my own mind, fighting my own thoughts, and I think like now that I've grown up and matured a lot and learned from my own mistakes, now I realize that, what, it's time for me to, you know, be grateful for every single thing that I have right now.
Yeah, and that's the only way you really know if you're where you want to be, huh? Yeah, I can agree. I feel like for a long time I forgot to really enjoy what I was doing and what I was doing it for. We do fall into this, you gotta go and get it, and I truly believe in it that you do gotta fight every day. Sometimes, like I said, you can't always be happy. You can't always have a good day. People fight for happiness, so sometimes who are we to deserve it? If you have something that you gotta fight for, you gotta do it. You can't be happy
I
when you're
mean,
fighting.
the most successful people have fought through the hardest battles. So I think about those things. A lot of the people that I listen to on their podcast that I look up to. I mean, they have crazy stories. Much tougher and harder than anything I've ever lived. And now they're multimillionaires, CEOs, and you know doing amazing things for humanity. But it all comes at a cost, like you said. The greater things you want to achieve, the more you have to sacrifice.
Definitely, and I feel like maybe, and I'm not trying to get political here, but I feel like in this day and age, we victimize ourselves a lot on the stuff that we don't have,
Right.
where we should really see how our parents saw adversity is the point of turn. Like this is where you can either make or break,
Yes, I agree.
and fuck it, dude, you gotta have it. Because I feel like a lot of people who don't have that worry, who don't have maybe those obstacles, and everything comes so easy,
Yeah, I mean,
it
what
doesn't stick.
right when you know what life is on the other side, you don't want to go back to that. And I feel like that's enough motivation for the day. Uh, like I said, I mean, I enjoy a lot of the little things that I have in my life just because of my background and where I come from. So, yeah, being comfortable, man, it can definitely set you back. If you're too comfortable, if you don't have enough friction in your life, it might affect your performance a little bit. Not saying for everybody, but at least in my case, it's having all the trials and tribulations, the friction in my life has pushed me forward.
Yeah, I feel like that's the only way to really mold yourself into the person you need to be. Because we all come in a small, fragile baby. Who are you going to become? Who are you going to shape up? And I feel like mostly us as men, we have to really find ourselves because nobody else really does it for us. We can, become the greatest version of ourselves or just become somebody else's puppet. Just somebody who is a good provider, but, emotionally isn't there, never was, found what made them move, what made their clock tick. And I feel like we are all deserving of it. Yet it's not something that like is just given. You gotta definitely earn it. You gotta go look for it, and it could take you many years. And I think that's something like you mentioned. Like it probably took longer than you wanted. And like you said, you probably already accepted that this is gonna go even longer than what you expected. But that's the whole point. You gotta kind of trust something else, out there. And I feel like I also believe in energy, and I feel like if you have that energy towards that certain object or goal, that's definitely something that will, you gotta hold on to it. That's probably gonna the only light you're gonna see when you're really in the dark times. And like you said, being grateful. We're not really always grateful for what we have. Having clean water, having lights,
Hot water.
hot water. Hot water is crazy, right? We forget that stuff. That's not it's not a given. It's a luxury. And
Yeah.
if you even stuff like that, it can get that simple as being grateful for stuff like that, having clean, portable, purified water. If we don't go that deep into our lives, how could we appreciate $1 million? That's why lottery winners lose it so quickly,
Right.
because if you're not happy right now, if you're not trying your best with what you have, all of those tools will just kind of like even frustrate you more because now you don't know how to use them. You don't know what type of person you need to be able to use them. So I believe that it all starts from when people tell me like I want to change my life, I want to do something. I'm like,
You have to
brush your
change
teeth.
you.
Yeah, not only that, yeah, brush your teeth every night. Wake up earlier. Do something that makes be uncomfortable once in your day. I always believe that. Try to be uncomfortable with it, whether it's a cold shower, whether it's what, I'm not gonna eat sugar today. I wanted to drink a soda. I'm not gonna drink it. Like restrain yourself a little bit. I saw this one guy mention that it's like a parenting podcast where he was like, I believe like being harsh a little bit. Needing is good. Like when the kids need snacks, and you always hear that like with the parents, he doesn't eat his food, but I want a cookie, give him this. He's like, I believe in holding back. And she's like, why would you hold back from a kid? He's like, well, if you give him everything, he's not gonna want the things he needs.
Correct.
So it goes into like example for food. He's like, you give him a cookie, you give him a marshmallow, a lollipop here. He's not gonna eat his dinner, which has his proteins. All everything that he needs is fuel, and that's why you see malnutrition in kids because that's just an example. So he's like, sometimes they need to be uncomfortable. They need to feel like something's wrong because sometimes things don't go right, and you
Right.
gotta know what to do in
Well,
those
you have to
moments
be ready for the real world because when you're 20, 30, you're nobody's gonna give you a cookie to feel better.
to feel better.
You
Yeah,
know, you have to, take care of yourself, not just financially, but physically as well. You have to make that decision to eat better, go to the gym, get whatever it is, get up in the morning and do the things that you need to do. So, yeah, like I said, the friction in my life, for me at least, the trials and tribulations have really shaped up the way I think and feel towards um, obstacles. Like I always see things as an obstacle or a challenge, but I never see it as um, like I don't know, like I'm like something that is gonna stop me completely from my tracks. Like everything. If you see things as an obstacle, then if you know anything about obstacles, they're meant to be um, conquered. So you can conquer any obstacle that you set your mind to. It may be very difficult, may take time. You might have to sacrifice a lot, but you can still conquer that obstacle.
definitely. Do you have any regrets?
Let's see. Regrets. I don't, and I don't have anything at the top of my mind just because I really try to live my life without any regrets. If I really want to do something, like I'll do it. Um, I mean, maybe doing things sooner, maybe that's a regret. I think just making the decisions that I'm making now a lot sooner. I think that would be something that I would like to do. But at the end of the day, I don't really think about a regret, just because I like the process of everything that I've lived through. Just I feel like God has really um, given me a lot of opportunities and has really shaped me and made me like the person that I am just because of everything that I've been through. And you know, um, do I want to do more? Absolutely, but I think everything comes in its time. So I kind of am just putting everything in his hands and trusting the process of everything. Definitely don't want to live with regrets. I want to live a very exciting, happy life, and kind of want to look at the good side of things. Every single day. I think that's what kind of helps me have a healthy mindset. Because if I was to dwell into too many regrets, I think I would be depressed or have a negative mindset. So
Yeah.
that's definitely not something that I want to even feed on.
Yeah, the mind of me is very crazy, but I always tell people I'm like just as much as it can definitely tear you up on the inside and make you feel like shit, you could also train it to make you feel powerful, make you feel unstoppable even.
Hmm.
It all comes with what you want to do. It's your mind, it's your brain, it's your soul.
Hmm.
We forget that at times. We forget that we have a lot of control of what we can and can't do, and only the limitations really sometimes are ourselves. When you write things down on paper, you realize it's not that big.
Yeah.
Our mind can make it huge, and you realize like I can conquer that. It just it takes time to really analyze and
Right.
think.
And the things that you can't fix that you're not very proud of or you wish that are the mistakes you've done. I mean, like I said, man, if you keep on dwelling into those things, you're just never gonna get out of it. If you can't change it, what's the point of continuing to go back into that state of mind? If for whatever reason, like I go through something and like I feel really bad about it, a big mistake. I try to do things moving forward differently, so that I never go back to that same mistake. And that's just the way I move, man. Just try to learn from my own mistakes and not have regrets.
Dude, this has been a very inspirational. What turned out to just be a conversation. This was a very inspirational. I feel like a lot of people can grab a lot of good things off of this. Cause yeah, man, you've been fucking, putting in the work and, kicking ass. What's to see from you in the future? What can we expect from you?
Definitely more events. I want to continue to grow the type of events that I'm involved in, and you'll definitely hear more from me around the city, around the country, and
Nice.
just continue to grow, man. I mean, I just honestly, it feels like a dream, man. I'm just living my life, and everything around me is just a beautiful dream.
Awesome, bro. Any closing remarks, or where can the people find you?
Instagram. I think that's the only social media that I'm actually very active in right now. So VENOM.ATL. That's my
Nice. We'll put it
Instagram.
right here.
So anything you guys need, man, just hit me up, man. If y'all wanna go have some fun this weekend, hit me up. Or if you guys just wanna have a conversation like this, we can also have that.
That's beautiful. We're very open to that. You also play Fridays. Where do you play here locally?
Friday.
Freddie.
Fridays, I have a residency at Ibiza.
Residence Ibiza, man. Y'all go get some.
But if I have something else around the weekend, then I'll just post it on my social media, so you guys can stay up to date with that.
Nice. And then we can also listen to you on 105.7 at 1 o'clock every Saturday.
105.7, that's right. Every Saturday at 1 p.m.
1 p.m. Y'all tune in, man. Get some good tunes, man. Venom, man, I appreciate you for coming on the show. I appreciate you for, putting your time aside.
Yes, sir. We
make
have
it
to
the drive.
definitely run it back.
Bro, we could run it back doing anything, Now we got a little bit more, mics and stuff like that. I can go with you wherever you want to go, bro. I'll follow you, man.
Let's do it, man.
It's awesome, bro. I really appreciate you again. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Episode 20. We made it this far. I hope we can make it farther. Very blessed to see you guys one more week. Very blessed to see you one more time. Hope to see you again in the future. You guys check him out. We're gonna put down all of his tags down here. This was an episode of Pep Talks podcast. Thank you so much, bro. I appreciate you. Right, and we're out, guys. Thank you so much. Y'all have a good one. Oh yeah. Ooh. Right?